Howdy, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lauren and today we are going to be going through what I read in May. Let's get into it. Was that intro weird? Sometimes I don't really know what I'm talking about. So I was able to get to 7 books this month, one of them being an audiobook, the other 6 being physical copies. I listened to / read, however you want to say it, okay? I'm not trying to argue with y'all. I read Artificial Condition by Martha Wells. Now, this is the second book in the Murderbot Diaries, and in this one, we are following Murderbot as he is traveling back to the mine that he was in when he initially went rogue. So he's trying to piece together what really happened. We have an introduction of a new character called Art, and I'm going to call her she. And I believe she's like an AI computer kind of thing, and they form a like symbiotic relationship. So she's like in his head, and man, their conversations, their banter is top tier. I love them. I think it's gonna form into a really awesome friendship between the two of them. So I rated this story 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. These books are just such quick, easy reads, fun, they're exciting, they're just perfect enough to where you get to see a little bit of plot, character development, but of course you can only fit so much in less than 200 pages, but I just think they're really perfect books if you just want to sit down, take a couple hours to read a book, to feel accomplished or whatever, and I really recommend it. I'm definitely going to be continuing on in the series. I think there's 8 novellas. It's also a TV show now on Apple TV, which I hope to start soon. Really love these. Highly recommend checking out Murderbot. Also, I would like to say, if you've noticed that my hair is crooked, please ignore that. Thank you so much. I'm going to go least favorite to my favorite of the month. First book I'm going to tell you about is The Housemaid's Secret by Freida McFadden. So this is the second book in the Housemaid series, and I rated it 3.25 stars. It was good. Very average. If you've read The Housemaid, it's the same kind of formula, so it's the same kind of vibe. However, it was good. I was entertained. There were moments where I was like, oh, I'm a little suspensed right now. Suspensed? Okay. English. Okay. I'm just gonna ignore that. I didn't think it was bad. Didn't think it was life-changing. Do I think you should go out and read it? It's up to you. If your brain is locked on super tight, you're probably going to guess the story and you may not enjoy it as much. I think that you kind of have to go into this book a little bit like, I'm just here for the fun, to be entertained. I think it's a great book for like beaches, vacations, where you're just kind of plop down and read a book and not really have to think super deeply, because it's not like a high fantasy or something where you have to really pay attention. You can kind of just sit down, read it, and then be done. So that's how I feel about a lot of Freida McFadden books, unfortunately. Sorry. So the next book that I want to talk about is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. So this is the 5th book in the Hunger Games series. It is the second prequel. So in this book, we are following 16-year-old Haymitch. He is going to the 25th Hunger Games, which is a quarter quell. So that means that double the amount of kids are being sent in to the arena. This book was really good. However, I don't feel like this book was super necessary. Like, I think if we would have never gotten this book, I think it would have been all right. But I guess I could argue that with Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes too. But as I'm thinking about it more, and as I've watched more videos and reviews of people who have read it, I definitely am starting to like it more, and I'm seeing more of the deeper themes that were touched on. It's definitely something that I see myself reading again, because I'm sure I missed a whole lot of stuff in this. So like I said, this is about Haymitch and his games, and one thing about this book is I really enjoyed, how do I want to say this? Although I felt like some of this was a little bit of fan service, because, for example, there's a scene in this book where we see Peeta's dad, and he's mentioned like by name, and then it's never brought up again, like through the entire book. So there's moments like that where I'm like, okay, was this super necessary to have in the book? Like, what did that add to the narrative? You know what I'm saying? But there are some characters like Beatty and Wyrus and Plutarch that are introduced, and we are seeing the younger versions of them, and we're seeing how we as readers in some way have fallen victim to quote unquote the propaganda of the book. We have kind of formed our own opinions on how we think the revolution started with Katniss, but in reality, it had been attempted time after time after time after time again. She just happened to be right person, right timing, and people were ready then, which I thought was very, very interesting. And it made me think, like, I wonder how many Katnisses, quote unquote, have they tried to overthrow the government, to overthrow, to try and stop the games. I found it to be very interesting. There's a lot of commentary about like AI and like I was talking about propaganda, about how even people who seem like they are living in the laps of luxury, how they are somewhat victim and slaves too. It's very interesting, and I'm definitely going to reread it again. Like I said, I rated it 4 stars. Like I said, though, I feel like some moments were a little bit forced. But I did overall really enjoy it. I'm very excited for the movie. The casting for it is going crazy. And I do recommend it if you are a fan of The Hunger Games, if you like The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, if you like the original trilogy. I think you would also like this book. Like, it was fun to read, despite it being like completely tragic and heartbreaking. All right, the next book that I got to was The Women by Kristin Hannah. Now, this is a historical fiction. This is a book that is focused on the Vietnam War. Now, personally, I don't know a ton about the Vietnam War other than I know that my granddad fought in the Vietnam War. And I know that when he came back, he no longer had leg hair because of the Agent Orange. So, The Women follows... My eye is twitching. You see it? Bro, that's really annoying. This book follows Frankie, who is a 20-year-old nurse. Her brother goes to fight in Vietnam, and unfortunately, this is not a spoiler, this is like one of the first 2 chapters. He unfortunately gets killed in the line of duty in Vietnam. Frankie is very fired up, and she wants to make a difference. So she decides that she is going to go to Vietnam as a nurse and help where she can because she feels like she has the duty to serve her country. So she decides that she is going to go to Vietnam. Her parents are not supportive at all. She comes from a military family, so she's very confused on why her parents are so anti about this. And of course, we know from now how people felt, and then too, how frowned upon the Vietnam War was, truly was, and how the government basically lied about, the amount of people that were killed in the line of battle, about, who was winning, who was losing. It was very, very messy time in U.S. history. Frankie sees the world in a way she never thought she would see it, and she's kind of forced to grow up very, very quickly. Thankfully, she does get the opportunity to come back home. That was really the beginning of us understanding what PTSD can really do to a person, how it really can break the human soul. There are men to this day that are still struggling. Even when my grandfather was living, as children, we were told, be careful when you go to wake him up. Sometimes he'll be in a flashback and not know it. So it's very, very serious. Force the medical community to kind of recognize, okay, what are these people really going through? And one thing about Kristin Hannah is she knows how to write a tragic, dramatic story. This wasn't my favorite book by her that I've read. This is my 3rd Kristin Hannah book. This is one that I felt the least emotional about. But don't get me wrong, it was very, very good. I felt like the themes and the messaging in this book was very, very important. The focus really is about friendships between women. Frankie meets 2 girls, Barb and Marge, and they kind of help support her throughout her tour in Vietnam, and even more so when Frankie returns home. And I felt like that was so, so beautiful. We see Frankie really hit rock bottom. When I mean rock bottom, I mean crust of the earth rock bottom, okay? Mariana Trench, okay? She was deep down in the depths of, girl, she was struggling, okay? Watching her friends support her without judgment, unconditionally, and it made me really think about my friendships with my girlfriends, and thinking about, one, how thankful I am for them, that they have supported me and lifted me up through really hard times. And I recently had a event happen in my life, and they were ready to, and they live 1,000 miles away from me, they were ready to book flights that weekend to come down and support me. And I saw it reflected in this book, and it made me just feel so thankful for the people that I have in my... Am I about to cry? It just made me feel very thankful for... Yeah, okay, I'm literally about to cry. Okay, get it together. Jeez. But anyways, it made me feel very thankful for the people, the women that I have in my life. I'm so fortunate, and made me look at myself and ask, am I putting forth that same kind of effort for these girls when they need me? This book was very beautiful, really showed female friendship in a very beautiful way. It also showed them being hard on Frankie, but in a loving way, to say like, no, you are being irrational. Like, I need you to lock in. I need you to like see what you're doing. I need you to see the path that you're going down on, and we will help you, but you have to want it too. The one thing in this book that I will say that I haven't seen in the two other Kristin Hannah books that I read, this one I think features the most character growth. And that was something that I really enjoyed seeing. The ending of this book felt a little Lifetime movie-ish. Like, I was just like, there's no way, bro. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. Again, 4.25 stars, very enjoyable. I really like this book. I also will say that if you're not someone who likes to read about war, specifically the things that happened in the Vietnam War, I don't think you would really enjoy this. It is definitely a lot more graphic than I thought that it was going to be. It wasn't crazy or anything. Like, if you watch a documentary on Vietnam, I mean, you'll be seeing the similar kind of things, but because it's in a narrative, it kind of just is a lot more jarring. Some scenes are, but it's not crazy or anything like that. Just be aware of that if you decide to pick this book up, and I do recommend you read it. I thought it was good. All right, the next book that I'm going to talk about is Summer in the City by Aster. This book is so good, and it's so summer. Like, this book is so summer. Like, it's so summer. It's giving Brad. It's giving Charlie XCX. Like, I loved this book so much. I ended up rating this book 4.75 stars. It was almost a 5-star book for me, and I'll get into what kind of fell flat for me. But this book follows a girl named Elle, and Elle is a screenwriter, and she's very famous, except for the fact that she is under a pen name. She does not want fame, and so Elle gets the opportunity to write a blockbuster film that's set in New York. So the thing about New York is Elle hates New York City. When she was in college, right before graduation, she and her friend went to a club, and they were having a good time, and Elle kind of snuck off because she was just feeling really overwhelmed. She's not really a club girl, where she ran into this guy. She's like, okay, this guy is kind of cute. Like, why is the bouncer staring at me? So he approaches her. Come to find out, he's not a bouncer. Elle's embarrassed, and he's like, it's all good. So they're kind of vibing with each other. So they start smooching, right? And then Parker accuses Elle of being a gold digger. And she's like, honey, I don't even know you. Come to find out, he's like a billionaire tech guy, and an ethical one, I will say. And Elle's like, okay, and like, I'm not that kind of girl. First of all, why are you judging me like that? And he's like, well, you judged me first. And so they get into an argument. Elle leaves and is like, I hate that guy. Never want to see him ever again in my life. And he kind of like ruins the New York experience for Elle. Fast forward to present day. So Elle's in New York, which again, she hates New York because she just has bad memories of New York. And there are other things in the story that kind of show why Elle doesn't like New York. But anyways, so she is ready to write the screenplay, but she is experiencing the worst writer's block she has had in a very, very long time. So Elle is back in the city of New York to write the screenplay. And she is house sitting in this luxury apartment, and come to find out, guess who her neighbor is? Yep, none other than billionaire bachelor Parker Warren. So Elle is super upset and angry and mad. She's just like not giving this guy any time of day. Like, it's actually hilarious. So unfortunately, once she realizes that Parker is her neighbor, all of a sudden she has a spark to start writing again. So reluctantly, Elle realizes that he is kind of in a way her muse. Like, In the past, every time something in the news has come up with Parker, she writes like a blockbuster film. So she decides, hey, what if I get you to show me around these places in New York for my screenplay, and maybe I will write a really good one. And this actually works out for Parker because he needs good PR to kind of get the media off of the sale of his business that he's trying to do. That way there's less news and buzz around the acquisition of his company. So they decide to fake date. And of course, the fake dating turns into real dating and real feelings. And it's just so good. So things that I didn't like about this book. One, I was annoyed at Elle a few times during this book. Because I was like, girl, this man is a billionaire. Like, let him take care of you. Like, let him be sweet and kind to you and let him make your life easier. But I mean, I get it. I get like her reasons. It was annoying, but I understood. And two, I just wish Parker had a little bit more of a backbone. Like, he really just let Elle treat him any old kind of way. And I didn't really love that. Don't get me wrong. I love it when our hero is super, super down bad for our heroine. But there comes a point where I'm like, stand up for yourself. Put your foot down. Like, you don't deserve that kind of treatment. You know, that's my personal opinion. Other than that, though, I ate this book up. I absolutely loved it. This is also going to be adapted into a movie, I'm pretty sure. This is such good classic rom-com vibes. Like, it was truly giving like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days kind of vibes. I was obsessed with this book. Parker's like a golden retriever sweetie pie boy. Perfect beach book, a perfect summer read. This would have easily been a 5-star read if Elle was a little less annoying and Parker had a little bit more of a backbone. Easily a 5-star. But I had to deduct some points because they kind of got on my nerves a little bit. Okay, and then the last book that I read in May, and my favorite for the month of May, was Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. Now, Miss BBL, she's kind of controversial. The girl is really, really loving this book or absolutely hating it. I'm so thankful that I'm someone who really loved this book. So in Great Big Beautiful Life, we are following 2 writers. So Alice is a writer and she's like waiting for her big break. She's waiting for her like bestseller moment. And the other writer in the story, his name is Hayden, and he's already had his big break. He is a Pulitzer Prize winning author, specifically for biographies. So Alice and Hayden are both invited to Little Crescent Island, which it kind of gives like Hilton Head, Savannah, Georgia kind of vibes. And they are given 1 month to convince the heiress Margaret Ives, who was an icon in her own day, very scandalous life, very famous family. It's giving kind of like Paris Hilton-ish kind of vibes, but like the 50s. Like if Paris Hilton was in the 50s and was like dating Elvis, like that kind of high profile buzz. Does that even make sense? She has since kind of removed herself from the public eye and is now wanting to tell her story. So Alice and Hayden are both interviewing Margaret to get the chance to write her memoir, like I said. Meanwhile, Alice and Hayden are kind of having some chemistry. It's very much Grumpy Sunshine. Hayden is very much an Allie Hazelwood coded man. Like, I don't think Allie Hazelwood could even write a more Allie Hazelwood guy. And honestly, I was rocking with it. Love Hayden. I love his broodiness. I loved his moodiness. So that is like one plot of the story. The second plot of the story is kind of reminiscent to the 7 Lives of Evelyn Hugo, where we're also getting Margaret and her story that's kind of like woven into Alice and Hayden's. This was a 5-star book for me. I loved the story. I love it when books have dual timelines like this. I think this book is for the nosy people. You know what I'm saying? Like people who just want to know some information. And sometimes I too want to know some information. I thought Margaret's story was very intriguing and interesting. Like I would read a whole book just on Margaret. Like I'm being so serious. Let's talk about the complaints that people have. Some people feel like the romance moved way too fast. And while I'll agree the romance was quick, I also need y'all to understand that if you're on an island with a cute boy and it's like vibes, you're gonna have a crush on him. Like, come on, you're gonna have a crush on him. I know I had a crush on him when I was reading the story. Alice is tall, she's 5'9", Hayden is 6'4". They constantly are knocking knees under diner tables. Like, that is romantic. Okay? Like, that's romantic. And I don't care what any of y'all have to say. For me, I would have done the same thing. Okay. If I were Alice, I would be falling for him too, like very easily, because he's so Hayden. Listen, Hayden is very much my type. Like, he's moody, brooding, tall, kind of annoying, low-key kind of mean. Like, I love him. I love him. And he's like smart. I fear some of y'all just don't get it. Like, you don't get it. You don't get me. You'll never get me. The themes in this book are also, these are for the girls who always say like, oh, it's fine, everything's cool, like I got it all, like I have it all under control, and they just keep piling on stress to themselves. Me. This book also explores a little bit of like mommy issue vibes. This book is for me. I love this story. I know for some people they found the interview portions like really boring, and I'm like, how? It was so interesting to me, and they had a purpose. Like, every part that went into Margaret's story had a purpose for Alice's own story. Like, everything was interwoven. There was a plot twist that I literally was like jaw to the floor, like, huh? I love this book. Love this book. Dare I say top 3. I feel like I like this more than Funny Story, and that's scary to me. I don't know where to put it. I feel like this book and Funny Story, although I rated Funny Story 4.5 in this 5, they kind of gave me the same emotional reaction. So they're tied for 3rd. That was Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I really hope I was making coherent sense. Yeah, that was Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I really hope I was speaking in coherent sentences during that. So with that being said, my average rating for the month of May was 4.21 stars. And you know what? I'm really happy with that. Love that rating. Way better than April. And I'm very excited for my June pick. So here is my June TBR. Let's get into it. Why did I do that? That was weird. So we're going to go ahead and start with my audiobook of the month. And to be honest with you, I've already read it and finished it. And the rating is live on Goodreads and Fable and Storygraph. But I'm going to act like I haven't read it yet, okay? This Time Next Year by Sophie Cousens. Now, this actually is about to be a movie with Louis and Viscount, which 16-year-old me, I was in love with this man. In fact, I still am. Like, he is the most beautiful person, I think, ever. There's no reason for him to be that beautiful. Like, he's just pretty. Isn't that crazy? Anyways, so let me tell you what this book is about. So we were following a girl named Minnie Cooper. Yes, like the car. And she was supposed to be the first baby born in the UK on January 1st, 1980. Unfortunately, her birthday and the name her mom had planned for her was stolen by a guy whose name is Quinn Hamilton. Now, although their lives started at the exact same time, their lives as 30-year-olds could not be any more different. Quinn is wildly successful, he's wealthy, he's handsome, he's charming. Meanwhile, Minnie is perpetually unlucky on her birthday. And you may think that's just a coincidence. No, bad things always happen to her when she goes out on New Year's Eve. Even if she's at home, things will go wrong. On their 30th birthday, they actually end up running into each other at a party because Millie gets locked in a bathroom and can't get out, and Quinn is the one who's able to break her free from the bathroom. So they kind of start developing a little bit of a friendship. This book kind of has a red string theory kind of vibe to it. It also has a little bit of like a When Harry Met Sally kind of situation as well. I laughed, I cried. It was easy to understand. It's very conversational. Also explores like feeling behind when everyone around you is like getting married, having babies, being successful, and you're still kind of in your late 20s, early 30s, still trying to figure it out. And I felt that deeply relatable because that's definitely where I am. But yeah, that was This Time Next Year. And I, spoiler, liked it. I'm going to read 6 physical books. 3 of them are arcs. The first one is actually already published. I'm behind. This book is called Duet for One by Martha Ann Toll. So Duet for One follows Adam after he loses his mother in death to ovarian cancer. Now, both of his parents are world famous musicians. They played the piano together. And Adam himself is actually fairly well known for his violin. So throughout the story, we are watching Adam kind of deal with the grief of losing his mother, also while trying to keep his dad stable. And he's also thinking about his own love life. He gets the opportunity to rekindle an old love that he had when he was in college. So it's very, very good. I'm about 25% in, I think, maybe even 30% in. I'm really enjoying the writing. It's very lyrical. It ties into music very, very well. I can explain to you how beautifully this book is written. I wouldn't say that it is a page turner by any means, and I don't mean that in a negative way either. It's just very immersive, and the flow of it is just really, really nice, and it's satisfying, and I'm enjoying it quite a lot. And I'm excited to find out what happens. The next arc that I have actually comes out on my birthday, which is kind of crazy that I'm going to be 29 years of age. Just a few weeks. But the book that I'm talking about is called The Divorceétante. The Divorceétante? I think it's the divorce girl. The Divorceétante? The divorcee girl, I don't know. The cover's on screen. I think it's Divorceétante. Okay. This book is by Mia Heintzelman. This book is about an elite event planner, and everything in her life is going really great until she finds out that her husband has been cheating on her, because every man in a romance forward book, if the girl's married, her husband is just an absolute jerkwad. So she divorces him, hence the title of the book. And during all this stress, she has to work a gig with her like industry rival. And the thing with this guy is he has known her forever, and he actually told her that her husband, the guy that she ended up marrying, was a bad guy, but she didn't listen, and now she has to be forced to work with this guy. So this is definitely going to be giving some enemies to lovers, rivals to lovers, and I love that. That's my favorite trope, like, for sure. And then the last arc that I'm going to be reading this month is called The Game is Afoot by Elise Bryant. This comes out on July 8th, and this is probably one of my most anticipated books of the year. I don't know why I keep... Because currently, right now, as I'm filming this on a Thursday night at midnight, there's nothing here. In post, however, it's there. Okay, so this is the second book in the series following Mavis, and she's the single mom. She is in a new relationship. Her ex is back in town. All this is going on. She just quit her job. She is kind of in a weird spot. And then she's at her kid's soccer game practice, and her kid's coach drops dead on the field. At first, they're like, oh, it was cardiac arrest, but then Mavis is like, nah, something's fishy about this. So she decides she's going to investigate and figure out what happened to the coach. It sounds really good. I really loved her first book, It's Elementary, rated at 4 stars. I thought it was really cozy and cute and charming and fun. Also touched on deep issues. Like, it was just a really good read. And so I'm very excited to get to this one. So I'm literally editing this video right now, and I just realized that I forgot to talk about 3 more books that I'm going to be reading this month, because I film all my videos on my phone. And so when I was originally recording, my phone died, and then I had to restart. And then I filmed the entire end of this video, went to import it, realized that the footage was on the front camera and I was using my back camera like I am now. And so I had to refilm the entire thing again, and then forgot to talk about the other books. So these are the books that I'm also going to be reading this month. Okay, so the first book that I'm going to be reading, which I'm actually currently reading right now, is called Audre and Bash Are Just Friends, and it's by Tia Williams. This is following the daughter of Eva in the book 7 Days in June. So this is about her daughter, and she is 16 years old, and it is the summer between her junior year and her senior year. So the thing with Audre is she kind of acts as the school's like resident therapist, and she even be charging them people, and I understand, like, we love a little side hustle gal. But to help with her college admissions essay, so she decides that she's gonna write a self-help book for teenagers that she could submit with her essay to kind of help her chances into getting into, I want to say, Stanford. The only issue with that is Audre is kind of a goody two-shoes. She hasn't really gotten into a lot of like typical teenage things, so she decides to elicit the help of Bash. Now, Bash is a new kid. In this story, he actually just graduated, so he's out of school technically now and is thinking about going into college. And he's got his own kind of lore that we're learning. Already like 25% into this book. It is so stinking cute. I love the way that it's formatted. I think it's super cutesy. I also am listening to the audio as well, and the audio is really awesome. So I'm really enjoying Audre and Bash are just friends. Like, it's feeling like it's gonna be a 5-star. And for a YA to be a 5-star book, yeah, I'm in there. I'm loving it. I'm gonna put y'all on the stand because my arm was hurting. The second book that I'm going to be reading is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore, and this is kind of like a thriller kind of book. I don't really know a lot about it. I'm just gonna be going in blind, but I do know it's about a girl who goes to a summer camp and then she ends up disappearing, and she's not the only girl specifically that has disappeared from the summer camp, so it sounds really good. The third book that I'm going to be reading is The Wedding People by Alison Espach, I'm pretty sure. I have been on hold for this book at Libby, because I'm using my Libby, since December 4th, 2024. I have been waiting for this book for 6 months. I already have the audio of this book. I actually bought it from Libro FM on Indie Bookstore Day because it was like $3. I'm so excited to finally be able to read this book. I'm so excited. So this is like a literary fiction, contemporary, but this book is about a woman who is contemplating ending her life, and she ends up booking like a last vacation, and she ends up accidentally being on an island with a wedding party, and it's supposed to be like booked out only by the wedding, so the fact that she's there is kind of like weird. But the bride decides to kind of take her and include her in all the wedding festivities, and it just sounds really good, and I'm so excited to read it. Okay, back to the original video. So those are all the books that I read in May, plus the books that I'm going to be reading in February. It's not February. All the books that I'm going to be reading in June, because it's the month of June. I am excited to get into all of these. I'm probably going to do some reading vlogs. If you're still here, please leave me the bathing suit emoji or even this hot dog emoji, because it's summertime. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you're notified every time that I upload a brand new video. And I will catch you in my next one. Have a wonderful evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are watching this. If you're watching this in December, hey girl, here's some summer pics for you. I'm gonna stop talking.